welcome back. Let us continue with our discussion actually. So we have seen Unix system, Unix architecture. This particular slide we have seen. So how the user space, kernel space, and then the hardware space. So now we will see with the next thing, the types of software. Okay, so now we'll see what are the types of software, and then how it is actually. So application software, like whatever generally we use as a user actually, so used by the users. So it is like text editors, word documents and all. And then system software means one, it implements this kind of things apart from other things. So it has to support the user as well as the application, whatever it is, user is using. So these are the sample types, whatever it is, like application, like commands, shell scripting, C++ applications, or whatever the Java applications. So all this will come under application software. Okay, so and then system software is like compilers, loaders, which you are implementing in a using the kernel space actually. So if you see this one, this is the whatever these system applications will fall under this space. Of course, interaction with user space also. But if you this one, this is only purely request response, means this application program will fall under this particular one. So user space generally. So and operating system is a software. So it is a software component. So operating system is collection of system software programs. So but basically it is a software component. Even though it supports the hardware and all, basically it is a software component actually. So now we have seen like what is the operating system and brief on that, but we will see a little more on that, what is the components in that actually. So these are the components: memory management, process management, file system, device management, network management. So means what actually? So why we need this? So let us assume, take an example. Let us assume I log to my system. I want to do three tasks actually. Means no. Let us assume I want to download a movie and listen to music. At the same time, I want to write something in my Word document. Some some task I am doing. So in that case, I am doing three tasks actually. So that how the memory is allocated between that, how it is scheduling each task and all, that comes under memory management. Means I am downloading. It is downloading task one, something like listening to music, task two, and then Word document, task three. But it cannot do this one serially. If it does serially, you cannot do the other task actually. It has to be doing parallelly. So as I told, as I told, it will be let us assume task one, task two, task three. Okay, so let us assume you don't know how many seconds, how many things it may take. So let us assume downloading may take some seconds, at least you can predict. But listening to music you cannot predict actually. And then Word document, you like, let us assume you opened a Word document or whatever the notepad. So you are trying to write something, so which you cannot predict actually. So if you, for example, if you take then it will schedule T1 for 1 second, T1, T2, T3. These tasks will be keep on scheduling one after the other actually. So it will start with T1, T2, T3 in one cycle. After the cycle is over, again T2, T2, T3, like that. It will keep on scheduling the task actually. So once the task is over, let us assume, if one task, not our task, if one task it is 3 seconds, then in the fourth cycle, this T1 task may not be available actually. So assume that I have 4, 2 and 3. Okay, so in that case, T2 in the third cycle, T2 will not come into picture actually. So it will schedule only T1 and T2, and then in the two cycles this task will be over, and then it will keep on scheduling like this actually. So T1, T3, then T2 will not be there. Okay, so if you see this one, T3 also is over actually. Then whatever the T1, it will keep on scheduling like that actually. So if you see this one, T1 4 cycles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and T2 whatever the 2, T3 like 2, 3 actually. So it is like that. So just for our understanding. So this task switching, we we guessed in the we have taken as a example as in seconds, but it is milliseconds and microseconds actually. So how it has to store that one in the memory, and one task it is scheduled, then it has to like now if it has to schedule the task to, it has to check whether the memory is available. If memory available, like now it will schedule the task to. All the things will come under the task scheduling, which is part of the whatever the like no memory management means. What are the pieces of memory where it has to store that particular thing, task in the RAM and all, it will do. So process management is like no that task is like no like synonym we'll use, but process is a precise name. So I have three application means minimum three processes it will be running. Means you cannot say three applications means only three process. One application may run any number of processes actually. So but for our understanding, assume one application, one process, so three processes are running actually. So it has to schedule. So first time slice T1 scheduled, second time slice T2 has to be scheduled. So it is nothing but the process. So how it has to schedule, what is the memory, like no, what are the internal data structures and all, that is part of the process management. And file system management, let us assume you are doing a download, a video download, right? So where it has to be stored in the file system. You cannot store in the device directly. So you will be storing in the file system. So let us assume you want to store in the like desktop, like no home, some particular user, the home user desktop you will be storing. So that is implemented using the file system. But like no, that file system is dependent on the device. Okay, so that is that nothing but a device management actually. So we will see certain directories and certain commands related to this, related to all of these components. And network management is let us assume I want to talk to some other system actually. So that is the network management. Since this topic is Linux basics, I am not going to depth of that data structures user and all, which may not be relevant. So for as a Linux basics user, if you want to understand the Linux basics and shell scripting, so at least you should know what are the components, like a brief of that actually. So to give you a glance of that, I've given, I've just spoken about this. So if you want, you can go ahead and then you can browse more on this particular. But as a user, as a Linux basics, it will be more than enough. So just to understand the component. Of course, certain comments on all this we will see actually. So IO management, where is the IO management location? What are the network management commands? We will see lot many. So like whatever the ping, ISCP, SSH, so many things we will be seeing actually. Okay, so as time goes on, we will try to cover that particular one. Okay, now we will see whatever the file system actually. So if you take the file system, like whenever you want to, so whenever you want to store some files and like that, you need file system. So that is the basic one. But do I have a system without the file system? Okay, but the general expected answer is no. But the actual answer is yes. So without file system also you can have a system. Without file system, what I can do? You can do whatever you want, but what is the limitation? You cannot create any directories actually. It is not possible. But without creating directories, without organizing, your work will not go that easily. So you need a directories creation and all. So if you want that one, then you need to have file system actually. Okay, so that is the basic one. So hierarchical representation of data. So what is file system is hierarchical representation of data. So we'll see little on this, like no, all the like no hierarchy structure and all. We'll be copying the files and we'll be doing lot many things which we'll see. So here, if you see how the file system organization is there, which we may not be needed as a Linux basics user, but just to have a glance. So that are divided into four things: boot block, super block, inode table, data blocks. Okay, so boot block is optional. If your file system is also used for booting the operating system, then this will come into picture. But if your file system may not be in the booting, this is optional actually. And you can have any number of file systems in one system, and there are so many file system types actually. We'll see that particular commands and like what are our Linux will support and all, we'll see actually. So that is file system, like ext2, ext3, ext4 are the current Linux file system. And if you take like in the DOS type FAT and VFAT, that are in the like Windows file systems actually. So that we will see more details in upcoming slides. So super block will contain the information of like total file system information it will contain. So like what are the blocks it has, and like no the what are the blocks it has, what is the free memories, and all that particular thing. Super block will have the information. Inode table is nothing but information table, which are nothing but files actually, because we as a user will recognize the file with a name, but the operating system will recognize the file with inode number actually. So that is the inode table. So inode numbers and all, we will see how to see that inode table. And then data blocks is real data where it is stored. So inode table also contain like when the file is created, who is the owner of that, who is the group of that, what is the size in bytes, and then what is the access time, modified time, creation time. So much information which will be there in the inode table. So little things we will see with certain commands, the information. And data block is actual data blocks which will store the data. So like no, there are certain things internals in that, like no direct block, single indirect, double indirect, triple indirect, which are like no as a implementer you may need to know. But as a Linux basic user, these are the structure, organization structure what you have actually. Okay, so let us go with the thing next, Linux actually. So what is the Linux? So Linux is what we say is a free operating system. So everyone knows is a Linux is like no free operating system actually. Okay, so what is free? Okay, so like no executables are free, and then source code is free actually. So you can go linux.org, then you can see whatever the source code which is available in there. But like no as we discussed actually, Linux is similar to Unix, same as Unix actually, but only difference is the how it is implemented. So since Unix is proprietary, it cannot take that code. Okay, so it has only the functionality is same, the implementation is different. So that is the Linux actually. So free Unix like kernel created in 1991 by Linus Torvalds, and GNU is nothing but GNU is a reverse acronym which stands for like no GNU, not Unix actually. So GNU stands for GNU reverse acronym, not Unix. Means what? It is like Unix but not Unix. That's what they mean to say. Okay, so not Unix but like Unix means uh, like no, to be precise, it is like now to be precise, it is like Linux. Like yeah, Linux is like Unix, but like in a simple words, we can say that one functionality is same, implementation is different. That's what we can say. Then the next thing is the whole system uses GNU tools. So the operating system is free, but if it is free, how you will use that one actually? You need to have a tools. If you don't have tools, you cannot use the operating system. So let us assume like no, you have a car, everything is right, but everything is there available, but they are not given accelerator, clutch, and brake. You cannot drive the car actually. So that is nothing but the operating system is total functionality, but to use the operating system we need to have some tools. So who will provide that? The GNU tools, they will provide that. GNU, not Unix, they provide that particular tools actually. So it may be C library, GCC, our LS, let us assume it comes under file utilities actually. Some binaries, some other system binaries and all, like make files and all to build an application. And this Emacs is a editor. Like that, you need an editor and all that particular things which is supported by the GNU tools. So the whole system is also called the GNU Linux. And whenever it comes to the Linux, there is something called the GPL, okay, General Public License. So what is mean by the GPL actually? So we are telling like no, Linux is free. Then what is this GPL? Why you need this one? So if let us assume you used a Linux to build some application using your operating Linux operating system. Okay, so that you use it for non-commercial purposes. So you have like now then you can merge that one to for general public actually. So this is general public license. So this is general public license. Okay, so if you created this one some application, you have to merge this one to the source tree. Okay, so but let us assume you have developed some application and then you want to use for commercial purposes, you don't want to merge actually. Then in that case what you need to do, you need to pay some fees, pay some money for that, and then you will take it as a proprietary. So that is called the GPL license. So in simple word, if you are using for commercial purposes, you can pay the fee. If you are using using for non-commercial purpose, you need to merge your things whenever you use the OS related OS based on the OS application. So that is nothing but the GPL license actually. And since 1991, it is growing faster than any operating system, not only Unix, because Unix is proprietary. Not many users will use, general users, only used by the organizations actually. Okay? So major organizations which are ready to pay that much of amount. So in that case, that is they use actually. So but in Linux, normal users also will be using. Okay, now we'll see more about the GNU project actually. So what is this GNU? GNU not Unix, we have seen, and this is completely free Unix-like operating system. This it is GNU is started with Richard Stallman, and like the OS is developed by the like Linus Torvalds. So you need to have both actually, otherwise you cannot use. As I said, you have the car, but you don't have the accelerator, clutch, brake. You cannot run actually. You cannot start your car. You cannot drive the car actually. So in the same way, even though you have the operating system, you need to have the tools. So GNU is implemented the tools, and then Linux kernel is implemented by the Linus Torvalds actually. So that's what the thing. Then collectively you can run. So these particular components are C compiler, GCC, and yeah, like no GCC, GNU, C compiler, or GNU compiler collection. They like no two names it has. GCC stands for GNU C compiler or GNU compiler collection. Okay, because GCC they extended for C++ also. So that's what they named as GNU compiler collection. And later they had G++ compiler also. So for C++, generally now you will be using G++. And GNU make. So make is like no, if you have collection of source files, you will make a very big application using the make files actually. And then Emacs is a editor, and C library, glibc, and then core utilities like whatever the LSCP and all. Okay, so so this is base about the GNU project. Okay, so now there are, if it comes under GNU distributions, there are two things actually. It is for commercial purposes, it is for non-commercial purposes, also called the community distributions actually. So if it comes under community distributions, like now means what? Commercial distributions means what? Whenever you bought the Linux system and you are using for commercial purposes, if you face certain bugs in the Linux, then if you report that, they will, there is certain team which it will support for that bugs actually. So that is the commercial distribution. But if you are having a community, you will be only putting in that one, but it is up to them as per their time whether they will support that particular one, or like no, it depends. So no support by default, but usually you will get in various platforms actually. So that is the brief on that. And like as we said, sources are free, but usually not binaries, commercial distributions actually. Okay, so like because that is the way it will be there. So community thing, we have seen what is mean by commercial, what is mean by community. So if you just take an example of like let us assume Android operating system. So Android operating system is a commercial operating system actually. So it is not a community operating system. You don't have the Android sources and all. You will not get Android sources in the net because that is a commercial one. So, but the Android will use internally Linux operating system actually. So they bought the Linux with a license, and then they are using for the commercial purposes actually. So that is the whatever the commercial actually. So these are the commercial community. So if you take this one, like don't confuse the distribution version with Linux. Yeah, so that is the difference actually. So Unix, Ubuntu, we will say 16, 18 and all. The kernel may be like 3.64 or something like that actually. So that are variations. That is both versions are different. So commercial distributions, if you see this one, Red Hat, SUSE, Mandriva, these are a couple of commercial distributions. So, okay, so Red Hat, Linux and all, which they will support. Community distribution, whatever the Fedora, Debian, Ubuntu, these are all part of community distribution. Not only this, you have a big list. You can go through a web for that if you require on this actually. Now, if you see this one, here you have the various operating system things. So let us assume whatever the Apple, Ubuntu, so many operating system which you have actually. Okay, so you can refer this particular slide for more on this, or any other slide your wish, whatever like that. So I've just taken this slide to tell you the certain operating system. So in our case, we'll be using this particular Ubuntu actually. So we'll be trying to see all that things in the Ubuntu. And then, like let's assume where it is, if you want to learn on this Linux, it is best to have the Linux operating system. But let us assume you don't have the Linux system, but you still want to learn. These are the things which may help you. So like linuxcontainers.org, simulating the Linux terminal and all. And these are the other like no websites. Sometimes this may work or this may not work as per the network and all. So, but mostly like no you can try if you have other tools also, but I have just given some 10 tools which were working good actually. So this like no this you can use if you want to do this online. Okay, so that's what this particular one. So like this is the unit one. So this is basically covers only the introduction actually. So we cover only the introduction and then theoretical. I hope you got like the essential contents of this. So we don't have any practical in this unit. So we will see like no from the next unit we'll see hands-on in the system actually. So I hope you enjoyed this particular session and see you in the next video. Bye for now.